Welcome to Payoff Pitch, presented by our friends at DraftKings. I am Chad Millman. This is the greatest baseball betting preview show in baseball betting preview show history, especially because tonight we have a very special guest analyst filling in for Colin Wilson. We got Stuckey. He is joined, as always, on the show by Sean Zerillo, by BJ Cunningham. The betting windows are open. Some games have already had their first pitch. Everything we're talking about, all the picks, all the research, all the data, it's all available for free in the award-winning Action Network app. One of the games that is about to start very soon. We got a huge matchup tonight. The New York Yankees and the Atlanta Braves, a rematch of a World Series from decades ago that on this call, I think I might be the only one who can actually remember moments of the game with clarity because I was old enough. 35-1 for the Braves and Yankees to meet each other in the World Series. Also, both of them on 9-game winning streaks. We're going to get to this game a little later in the show. According to Elias, I saw this tweet from ESPN Stats and Information, thanks to BJ Cunningham, who alerted it to me. This is only the third time in Major League Baseball history that teams with 9+ game winning streaks are meeting, and the first time since 1901. Well done, BJ, for giving me that tidbit. You get to go first in Dinger. Give me your best bet of the night.
Well, let's stay in the same game, Braves and Yankees. I'm going to go with the Yankees money line. You know, since the trade deadline, the Yankees offense has really steadily been improving. 334 weighted on base average, 113 weighted runs created plus. And they've actually scored the second most runs in Major League Baseball. The reason for that improvement is because they're hitting fastballs better. Over the first 4 months of the season, only a plus 4.3 run value against them, but since the trade deadline, so less than a month time span, they have a plus 16.4 run value against fastballs. So the additions of Anthony Rizzo and Joey Gallo really seem to have paid off because those are two incredible fastball hitters. Now they'll be taking on Huascar Ynoa, who's coming off the 60-day DL. It's only his second start since coming off the injured list. He is a big-time negative regression guy. His ERA is almost 2 runs lower than what his expected ERA is, and he's mainly a fastball slider pitcher. So the Yankees should have a decent matchup tonight, and they'll be sending Jordan Montgomery to the mound, who has just been incredibly solid in the back end of their rotation. xERA and xFIP around 4. He does a great job of mixing his pitches. He has 4 pitches in his arsenal that he utilizes over 14% of the time. And the Braves have been pretty average versus left-handed pitching, only 318 weighted on base average, and they struggle versus curveballs and sinkers, which are 2 of Montgomery's main 3 pitches. So I think this is a good matchup for the Yankees tonight to get their 10th straight win, Chad.
All right, 10 straight wins for the Yankees. This team has been rocking, like you said, since the trade deadline. Now they have Anthony Rizzo. They got Joey Gallo. They got a little bit of a glut, too many bats. They got too many bats because Anthony Rizzo, he's bringing the magic because that's what he does. He'll always be a Cub. To me, I'm going to have loyalty to him wherever he goes. Stuckey, what do you got, buddy?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one, but I'm going to go later in the night. I'm going to go Oakland, Seattle, over 8.5 runs. We have a pitching matchup here of Mr. Blackburn versus Mr. Marco Gonzalez. Let's take a closer look. Blackburn making a spot start here. He has about a 5 ERA and 16 AAA starts. There's no reason what I think is a pretty underrated Mariners lineup can't get to him. And that's despite the fact that they've been a bit unlucky. They have the second lowest BOB BIP in all of Major League Baseball. They do strike out a bit, but that's not really a concern against Blackburn. On the other side, you have Marco Gonzalez going for the Mariners. He's been really good over his last 4 starts, but he's faced the Rangers in 3 of those 4 starts. The Rangers are the worst hitting team in all of baseball against lefties, so it helps to face them in 3 out of 4 starts. Very high negative regression guy. His xERA is about 1.5 runs over his actual ERA, second highest barrel rate in all of baseball. So I think the regression monster and or the A's lineup can get to him tonight. Matchup of 2 pitchers where I don't expect a ton of strikeouts. I think there's value in over 8.5 runs.
All right. Let me just say this. I am shocked that the captain of Team No Sleep is betting the game that will come on after I've been asleep for about 8 hours. Number 2, you say BOBIP and BJ's going with xFIP. I can't wait to see what IP Zerillo brings out. Zerillo, what kind of, nomenclature you're going to throw at us that ends in ip. Ipecac.
I'll get to an ip in a minute for you, Chad. You're shocked that Stuckey's picking a late game. How about be more shocked that I'm going to take a favorite tonight instead of an underdog? If you see me make picks, you know I'm always on the big dogs, but project value on Oakland tonight as favorites. Made their money line for the first 5 and the full game over 60%. Around minus 153 implied. So like either of those lines to about minus 140, minus 145. Now, pitching matchup, Stuckey did a good job breaking it down. Marco Gonzalez has been better of late since the All-Star break, an ERA below 1.5, but he's carrying a 4.7 xFIP. There's your IP, Chad, and a strand rate over 90%. Blackburn projects about a quarter of a run worse than Gonzalez over the rest of the season. So I think the Mariners might have a slight advantage in terms of the starter versus starter matchup, but the A's have the much better offensive splits. They've killed lefties for years. They can trot out 8 right-handed bats, and Matt Olson, who's one of the best left-on-left hitting southpaws in all of baseball. 122 WRC plus against lefties since the trade deadline. That ranks 5th in baseball. The Mariners have generally overachieved this season, outpacing their Pythagorean record by 11 wins, 62 runs below 500 in terms of their run differential. Oakland lineup about a half run better for me in my model. Bullpen about a quarter of a run better. Defensively, the team's pretty much on level terms this season, -1 and -3 in defensive runs saved. But based on the lineups they're putting out tonight, I'd make Oakland about 11 runs better than league average. Mariners about 8 runs below. So I think the A's are a little bit better everywhere. And I think there's plenty of value on them as a chalk money line, which is not something you see me doing with regularity.
You never like to go with the favorites. I'm going to say hip, hip, hooray that no one got the yips in that segment. Woo! Woo! Yay, yay. Okay. Let's go on to segment number 2. I'm glad to see that Stuckey joins the show and is as placid as everybody else when I decide to make a funny. That's really fantastic stuff. Good job. Here we go. It's time for segment number 2. We call this Bang, Bang, Bet. This is when our contestants get to choose a player on our spinning wheel and the total listed, and they tell us without having any advanced warning whether they want to go over or under that total. Stuckey, you will be up first. Let's please spin the wheel. Boop, 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 boop. Zach Greinke, 37-year-old Zach Greinke, pitching for what seems like every single team in Major League Baseball, currently with the Astros, over under 4.5 strikeouts. Stuck, what do you got?
Yeah, he actually made his debut 17 years ago for the Royals, the team he's facing tonight. And he's 37, so it's not unexpected that his, velocity over the past few seasons has been dropping. And this year specifically, his strikeout rate is way down. I think he's at about 6.5 strikeouts per 9 innings. His strikeout rate around 16, 17%. League average around 23, 24% for reference. I'm going under 4.5 strikeouts here. I don't think it's egregiously priced one way or the other, but there's a few things I like about the under. Number one, he's facing a Royals team that strikes out at the 3rd lowest rate in all of baseball. And number two, he just faced the Royals. So the Royals just got to see him in his last start. Greinke was effective, still a very effective pitcher. He went 6 innings, only gave up 1 run, but he didn't have a single strikeout. So, if you look at his past 14 starts, he's only gone over 4 strikeouts 12 times in those 14 starts. So I'm going to pay a little juice here and go under 4.5 strikeouts.
All right, listen, you're new to the show, so I'm going to give you a pass. But for the record, FTR, the only person who gets to use big words like egregiously is me, because I'm king of big words, king of team wordplay. And if I'm not going to do it, BJ Cunningham gets to do it. Speaking of BJ Cunningham, you're next on the spinning wheel. Producers, let's give it a whirl. BJ, your player is Matt Olson of the Home Run Derby. And what do you know? The prop is, will he or won't he hit a home run? What do you say?
I say yes at plus 270. Sean mentioned it. He's one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball against left-handed pitching from a power perspective. got a 403 weighted on base average and actually leads Major League Baseball with 16 home runs against lefties, and 2 of them have came off of Marco Gonzalez. And he hits Marco Gonzalez's main 2 pitches of sinker and changeup really well. Over a 390X weighted on base average, over a 43% hard hit rate. And on top of all of that, 8 of his 16 home runs against lefties have came against either a changeup or a sinker. So I think there's a great chance that Matt Olson will hit a home run tonight, again, off of Marco Gonzalez at plus 270.
One of the best power hitters in baseball. No,
Yes.
no 2 ways about it. Last couple of years, he's totally exploded into a dominant force on his side of the plate. Sean Zerillo, you're the last one. You have not had a chance to play the spinning wheel. Let's spin it one more time for Mr. Zerillo. And he gets an exciting one. He gets a game prop. Astros Royals. Will they score a run in the first inning? Yes or no? What do you got?
Going to take the yes here at minus 120. Projected this total at 5.28 runs. Would love to bet the over 4.5, even like that up to 5 at even money. Now, Daniel Lynch has really struggled to find his command early in games this season, and the Astros absolutely rake against left-handed pitching. Lynch, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts in the first inning. Astros, 118 WRC plus against lefties. That ranks first in baseball. Like the A's, they've been killing lefties for a while. Very righty-heavy lineup. On the other side, Stuckey mentioned all the declining stats for Zach Greinke. He's also shown a propensity to struggle in the first and fourth innings when he's facing the opposing top of the lineup. And it's a small sample, but against Whit Merrifield and Salvador Perez, who we will see in that first inning tonight, he's given up 7 hits and 17 at-bats, very limited sample. But I think there's reasons to suggest value on this yes prop because I certainly see a ton of value on the first 5 over 4.5. So I would bet that first 5 over, but I would also target a little bit on the yes run in the first inning.
All right. Our next segment, we're going to fade the public. And why do we do that? Because the public knows nothing. We are the expert. We are professionals. We are the Action Network. We are made up of people who do this every single day. We know more than you. We know BABIP. We know XFIP. We even know Baba Booey. That's how tapped in we are. Okay. We know more than you know. The question tonight, will Kyle Hendricks get a win? The public said yes. They came in at 55.5%. I'm excited to get to BJ on this. Call him out a little bit. Stuckey, you go first.
All right, I'm going to trust. I think it's, a relatively fairly priced line, but I'm going to trust the baseball gods here. And by the way, this is a hilarious matchup. The Cubs have lost 13 straight at home, and the Rockies are the worst road team in baseball. They have 14 road wins. Like football's almost here. They have 14 road wins. To put that in perspective, the Orioles have 21. So you have a team with a 13-game home losing streak facing a team that has 14 total wins on the road this year. But if you look at both starting pitchers, Senzatalia has better peripheral numbers than Kyle Hendricks, especially when you consider he pitches in cores in half of his starts. And he has a 2-9 record. Hendricks has a 14-5 record. You also have to worry about the Cubs bullpen, by the way. So I'm going to side with the baseball gods, kind of making this right and evening out their win-loss records. And I'm going to say Senzatalia finds a way to get a win here.
So I'm stealing this fact from our production meeting earlier in the day. This is true. The Chicago Cubs and the Milwaukee Bucks have the same number of wins at home since the Major League Baseball All-Star break. That is 3. BJ Cunningham, earlier this year, you came on this show. You came on the show and you basically said Kyle Hendricks was done. Downslope of his career. He's going for his 14th win.
Well, Chad, 8 of those wins came in a row from May to June when the Cubs were, an actual baseball team. Well, now who knows what iteration this team is, but really with Hendricks, the main thing that is a problem with him is that he's just falling off a cliff because his xERA and xFIP are both over 4 for the first time in his career. So yeah, he might have 14 wins, but his ground ball rate's way down. His sinker and his changeup are both up in the zone. So hitters are hitting it way out of the park. His home run per 9 rate is up at 1.56. So it's just not good for Hendricks. He's got a lot of negative regression coming, and the Rockies do have a positive run value against both sinkers and changeups. So I think this is a bad matchup for him. Plus, the Cubs' offense has been one of the worst since the trade deadline. So I'm going against the public. Give me no.
BJ, I think we lost your video, so I apologize for that to the viewers. Zerillo, are you going to make this a cube, and we're going to go against the squares on this?
Chad, let's call this a sharp fecta when we all agree to go against the public.
No, you don't get to call word games. I get to do word games.
You know, I like to do math for my prop, Chad. This was actually kind of a fun one to project. So the Cubs money line tonight sitting around 55% between minus 120 to minus 125. Looking back at Hendricks' career, the Cubs have won about 62% of his starts, and he's recorded the win in those wins about 72% of the time. Looking at his money line for tonight, or I should say, looking at the Cubs money line for tonight, and that prop sitting around plus 200, which is 33% implied, you would need Hendricks to win when the Cubs win about 60% of the time in order to break even. So I do think there might actually be value on the yes. However, I have a bet on the Rockies money line, and frankly, Chad, I can't root for anything to happen that's going to bring you joy or happiness. So give me the no on this prop. I'm with Stuckey. I'm with BJ. We're against the public. We're against Chad Millman.
All right, well, listen, if you're going against your math and you're going against me, then all I can do is hope that I win. Let me recap the bets for everybody tonight. Stuckey, you are on Seattle and Oakland over 8.5. You will stay up very late to watch that game. You're also on Zach Greinke under 4.5 strikeouts against his former team, the Royals. And you were on a no for Kyle Hendricks to get his 15th win of the season. Earlier, I said he had was going for his 14th. BJ, you were on the New York Yankees money line to beat the Atlanta Braves and get to 10 straight wins. Matt Olson to hit a home run at plus 270. You are against Kyle Hendricks because you've been against Kyle Hendricks since basically May. And then Sean Zerillo, you're on the Oakland money line tonight. You're on Kansas City, Houston to score a run in the first inning because you love the first 5 total in that game. And you're on Kyle Hendricks to not win because you are basically against me. I'm cool with that. Go Cubs. This has been Payoff Pitch from the Action Network presented by our friends at DraftKings. We will be back next Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern on @Action Network HQ. For BJ Cunningham, for Sean Zerillo, for Stuckey, I am Chad Millman. Good luck tonight.